Hello and welcome to the show. We're back on Forza Horizon 4 today with another mini tournament. Yes, we are going to be running up the Needle Pass. However, this is no straightforward hill climb. This is going to be a relay race. We're in pairs. One car is an A-Class vehicle that we're all starting, because you're going to want to run the A-Class car up the hill. At the top of the hill, there is a B-Class car that you will hand over to, and the B-Class car will race back down the hill. The changeover point is just at the end of the drift zone. The finish line will be this bridge where we are starting the A-Class cars. Up first, we have got Green Team against Red Team. An Evo against a Ford, a very, very old Ford. Don't know what way this is going to go. However, it should be, fingers crossed, quite an interesting race. Likely to have both of them. Well, the Evo likes to be all-wheel drive, let's face it. The Ford, I think you would want to have all-wheel drive for this sort of thing. Very, very even start between the pair of them, as it's slightly damp. It's not really raining all that heavy. It'll probably be dry by the time they get to the top. The Evo will lead not quite into turn one. In fact, the Ford gets the vehicle to the lead. Evo has a little bit of a look underneath, but nothing really happening through there. Of course, the Ford is going to be quite light, and the Ford does have some pretty big tyres, although you wouldn't necessarily expect it to be the easiest of vehicles to drive as we head through the first, I guess, of the real tight hairpins. The Evo closes a little bit. The Ford has got some very, very good acceleration as we come up through this next part. Of course, the Ford can hand over in the lead, but that doesn't mean Green Team are out of it yet, because they've still got the downhill section. The Evo struggling a little bit. It's just losing ground. The Ford has got a lot of speed up this course as we head through the double apex. Don't worry about the traffic cars. They are all in ghost mode. Should be, at least, with us inside a drift zone. Oh, Ford is a little bit wide. It's a very nice line through all of that for the Evo. Is that Mitsubishi going to be close enough to do anything here? I don't know if it is, you know. I don't know if it is, although the Ford's very wide. The Ford's very, very wide. That's given the Evo half a chance here as we head up towards the final. It's going to be a great battle between the A-Class cars here as we run towards the last pair of hairpins. The Ford is to the inside of the first part. Tries to cover the inside a little bit. Evo's going to get underneath it slightly, but it's not going to be enough. And here we go. Last corner as we head up towards the changeover. It's going to be 2CV that will go for Red Team. For Green Team, a very interesting green. We've got the Corrado. Again, very, very even. Both will be front-wheel drive, I would presume, in B-Class. The 2CV has got a million miles of understeer over there for Citroen, and Green Team take the lead for kind of the first time in all of this, although I said 2CV's having a big look up the inside. There's a little bit of a tag on the back of the Volkswagen. I don't quite know what's going on with that Volt. That's a odd-looking grill on the Volkswagen. I guess that's a custom front bumper. Not a fan of it. 2CV getting brave. Again, we're inside the drift zone. Don't worry about the slightly laggy AI cars. 2CV is right on the bumper. It's incredibly close so far. Any little mistake could be very costly here. The Corrado in testing was very quick. Well, I say it was very quick. Was one of the faster B-Class cars when it came to the finish straight. However, we don't really know what the 2CV is going to be like. We know they can be very, very fast indeed here. Volkswagen just extending that lead a little bit as we head through these twisty corners. There's only a couple more to go. Again, I quite like the symmetry of the course. We've got another sort of pair of hairpins to almost finish off this one. Of course, we do run down towards the bridge as we head around the hairpin. It is the Corrado that leads the way, and barring an insane amount of speed from the 2CV, I think it unlikely the Citroen is going to be able to do too much here as we run down towards that bridge. Is the Citroen going to have an answer for the Volkswagen? It doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it. The Corrado will take a victory. The 2CV will have to settle for second. A very, very close run. Very close run in both directions for the vehicles. However, Green Team have got victory. Right, up next we have got, well, our team, Orange Team. We are running, FailRace is up against another of the Evos. Now, this is a little bit more tricky for me. I've got to jump out of drone mode at just the right time to get the changeover while filming. It's a little fiddly, however, should be okay. Should be okay. I think we've got a pretty good chance. I think we have got a pretty good chance in this one. I'm driving my Alpine, my B-Class Alpine, which I know is good. I know is good up here. Can we get a changeover with us in the lead? That is the question. The FailRace was very fast off the line. Now, the Evo might have a little bit higher top speed. In fact, the FailRace quite wide through the first corner. The Evo tries to go to the inside. You can kind of make up some time across there, but you can also lose time on the exit. You kind of take a little bit of a funky line in places. Oh, the Evo's in a lot of trouble up there. The Evo's had a big wobble going through the S's, and that gives our Fair Lady Z a little bit more of a lead here, although the Evo's quickly closing that back in. Of course, wide body kit on the Fair Lady Z, likely to have some very big tyres, which we know are also very, very important on this sort of a course. Everybody here, certainly with A-Class, you'll be running race tyres, there's no question about it. In B-Class, you're going to have wanted to have picked a car that can get race tyres and stay in B-Class, because race tyres are so important running up this course. The Evo is dropping back, I say dropping back a little bit. It's not so far behind in all of this. It's not so far behind, to be out of question. Certainly not as close as the first round, although, well, I've got to do my part going down the hill, make sure that we don't get overtaken. Yeah, okay, so we've got a little bit of a lead as we head towards the first of the double hairpins. I've now got to get out of drone mode quickly. Hope the loading screen doesn't screw us over. Did time this in practice beforehand. And here we go. The Fair Lady will hand over to the Alpine. Two actually quite similar cars in terms of age, in terms of style almost, and we are into the drift zone. Now, we're up against a Beetle, which is an interesting... We've got a lot of classic cars so far going down the hill in B. You kind of want it for lightweight and race tyres and all the grip, etc. Yeah, Beetle's likely to be not a bad choice of car. We've got to be a little wary. As I said, the Alpine, we had a live stream where we were messing around with the hill climb stuff, and I think I remember correctly, I won with the B-Class Alpine. It is a good vehicle for this sort of event. That being said, one little mistake, even with the sort of lead that we have, it's actually really weird driving down this road in this direction. I've driven up the Needle Pass so many times. It's really weird driving down it. There are corners that are a lot faster and a lot different than you are used to. Oh, that's quite a nasty corner heading in this direction that you're not used to having to... It's not really a corner, it kind of is, but not in the same way as it is on this. Oh, come on, make that turn. There we go. We're still keeping the gap back to that Beetle, unless the Beetle has an immense amount of power and can completely obliterate us down the straight. I think we're going to be safe. If anything, we have gained a little bit more time on that Volkswagen. It's a good start. I probably shouldn't say anything just yet, because I could still crash into a traffic car. Coming around here, let's not speak too soon, but it's looking like a pretty good start for Orange Team here. Indeed we will take a victory. Orange Team, we are through to the semi-finals. The Black Team, not quite. Not quite. The Evo was close to the Fair Lady. Could well have given the Fair Lady some trouble had it not made a mistake early on in the run. However, in the end, couldn't quite do it. The Beetle couldn't quite keep up with the Alpine. Well, Black Team do still have a chance, though, with the Spanner final, of course. So, for the final of our heat, we have got a Lotus 11, which, well, we know is a very good car, up against the Holden Tirana that won the A-Class Hill Climb Tournament and was up against another Tirana in the final. It's the car I lost to, basically, with my Tirana. So, this should be certainly a fast climb. How the cars are going to do on the way back down, I do not know, but this should be a fast climb. It's a very fast start from the 11. Now, this is something that we are likely to see. The 11 is very light, incredibly light. One of the lightest cars. If you ignore the bubble cars and so on, it is one of the lightest, sensible cars in the game. It's monstrously quick, accelerating. However, they are difficult to drive, especially if we're getting some rain going on here. It's not the nicest conditions for the cars to be racing up, and the 11 can get twitchy. It can be difficult to drive, especially under pressure from a Tirana. I mean, the Tirana isn't the massive kind of muscle car. However, it is so much bigger than that Lotus. It tried to get to the inside for the hold and it could not quite make that one work. The 11 continues to accelerate very quickly, although big understeer. Now, that is not what you want to do with your little lightweight Lotus across the grass, especially the wet grass in that car. That's a funkalicious line right there. That's not quite. Oh, the 11's in a lot of trouble, though. The 11 has paid the price. I think that is a karma. I think that is a karma strike right there for the 11. Now, it might be able to make back up some of that time it has lost. There is still a little bit of a run to go. And, of course, when we go for the changeover, who knows how the respective team of vehicles are going to perform. Yeah, the 11 is close back. That 11 is seriously quick up this climb. So that is definitely a car to be worrying about. I don't know what their B... I actually know what their B-class car is. I don't know whether it's something we're going to have to worry about. It's got a really good run out of the first hairpin. Can it do anything into this second hairpin? It doesn't quite look like it is close enough. It's going to be a really, really close changeover. And there we go. The Sentra takes over, of course, front-wheel drive on the Nissan. Doesn't get it off the line quite as quickly, although the Silvia couldn't make the most of it. Silvia stayed very tight on the inside across the gravel, which is not particularly what you want to be doing as we head through these next couple of corners. If anything, Silvia is struggling a little bit for pace down here. The front-wheel drive Nissan doing well. I've got an interesting mix of kind of drive lines going on. Some of the A-class cars all-wheel drive. I don't think we've got any all-wheel drive B-class cars. It's just easier. You can save PI by leaving them with their standard driveline, and that's much more useful for handling parts, if you like. Of course, the all-wheel drive traction on the way down the hill is not quite so... well, it's not so important. It's about trying to keep your momentum up, essentially. If the Silvia is going to win this for Yellow Team, it's going to have to be a impressive amount of speed later on in the run. It is... yeah, really struggling. I'm impressed by the performance of the purple machine up ahead here. That has really pulled a gap to the... well, to the Silvia. The 11 might be immensely fast on the way up the hill, and that is probably one of the fastest cars on the way up the hill. However, that Silvia is struggling as we come around the final of the hairpins, I believe, if I know this course well enough backwards. Now it is just that run to the line for the Sentra. Unless it breaks down, I don't think we're going to have much hope for the Silvia here, as the finish line is looming up ahead. It will be Purple Team that go through. The Sentra takes victory in the end by a fairly decent margin. This Silvia crashes into the spectators. That's a Mustang joke. You've got the wrong car, goddammit. Yellow Team will have to try and fight it through the spanner final, as purple cars look menacingly quick. So we are on to the spanner final next. We have red team, black team and yellow are ready to compete. Honestly, not sure which way this is going to go. I think yellow team probably have the fastest car going up, but we saw the Silvia struggle. We don't know how it's going to compare to the other vehicles running in this. So let's send them off on their way before it gets too dark. It's a good start for the Evo. In fact, it's a very good jump for the Evo. The Ford gets a very quick start as well. I presume that is the all-wheel drive launch of the pair of them. And we saw how much the 11 beat the Tirana. And let's not forget, the Tirana won the A-Class hill climb event that we ran. The difficulty the 11 is going to have if it's got to try and overtake now. If you can't lead away from the line, you are going to have to be the one that finds a way past, which is, well, much easier said than done on a course like this. While it's not as narrow a mountain pass as it could be, still not exactly it's not the easiest road to pass. The braking zones are small. The 11's in a lot of trouble, actually. I think yellow team are struggling here as we head through this next quarter. The Evo is busy looking for a way past that. The Ford has been mighty quick on its run up the hill here. I think red team might... well, I say red team might be one to beat as we're halfway through the round. It's easy to say that there. Oh, the Evo's gone. The Evo's rolled. Black team are down. That's a big crash for the Evo. That carried a lot of speed through there. That was a huge amount of speed in a place that, I mean, is easy to go off there. That was a long way off. That was a really, really long way off. As the 11's going exploring as well. I mean, red team has just got to not crash pretty much now, as the yeah, the running wide, the dirt, is not where you want to be putting your very, very small, lightweight, well, anything very small, lightweight car. Here we go for the changeover. The 2CV is off and underway. Yellow team transition to the Sylvia. Now, I'm hoping everything's going to be... We didn't actually expect this to be an issue because we didn't think anyone was going to fall that far back. Well, I mean, that's not really helped Yellow Team. That's not really helped Yellow Team. Neither has it really helped Black Team in all of that one. Yeah, that's the downside. That is the downside of doing these. You got to be careful. You got to be careful when there are cars still running up the hill, as the 2CV will lead the way. Again, I mean, we saw how easy it is to make a mistake around here. The 2CV has just got to keep it on the road, not go exploring, not go visiting the scenery. The Sylvia, there it is, over the hill. And where on earth is the Beetle? Anybody see the Beetle? I don't know where the Beetle... There's the Beetle! glowing brake discs, we see it briefly. 2CV is all the way over here. It's not quite been as close to a Spanel final as we might have liked. It is quite fun hovering around with the drive. I mean, you get some quite impressive shots watching the car. We'll just go for cinematic shots, really. Watching the car weave their way down here at night is a big lock-up from that Sylvia. I mean, 2CV's... the Beetle's doing as much as it can all the way back there. I mean, the 2CV is doing as much as it can up at the front as they head around the final corner. It looks like it is going to be in the end, fairly comfortable victory for Red Team. The Evo gave them a very good run for their money at the start of the race, but a big mistake would put the Evo out. I've crashed my drone off of the edge of a bridge. It will be Red Team that makes it through to the semi-finals. Yellow Team, a little bit unlucky, but I don't think they necessarily quite had the speed. They had a lot of ground to be making up. And the Black Team were right there, but a big tumble off the side of the mountain will put them out of contention. So, on to the semi-finals. We have got Purple Team with the Tirana up against Green Team's Evo. An interesting matchup with these two cars. The Tirana's going to have a lot of work to do. It's up against an all-wheel drive car, which is going to get off the line faster, but we saw how good the Tirana was, well, last time we ran up here. So, let's find out, shall we? Which team is going to lead the way? And of course, then they've got to get back down the other side, where that will be the Sentra up against the Corrado. It's a good start for the Evo, and sure enough, that is going to lead its way through this first long corner. In fact, I'm surprised to see the Evo pulling away here on the straight. I would have expected at least the Tirana to be the slightly quicker of the two down that section, but there we go, the Evo on the grass a little bit through there, knocking out the bollards. Now the Tirana's going to have a little bit of a sneaky look up the inside. Might just about make that one work as the pair of them rubber doors through there. They still go side by side, fire being spat from both of the cars. Tirana's going to cut back underneath. You might run out of space though, trying to go around the outside there. If you could have held it, you'd be on the inside up this part, but it's a very difficult way to hold that manoeuvre, and the Evo will continue to lead. Tirana's still looking, trying to get underneath. It's kind of a double apex corner. Don't worry about the defender being spat out the other side. Evo clips the Armco barrier, gets away with it. They're both very tight on the inside there, almost a little bit too tight, bobbling across the rocks, across the grass. Tirana loses a little bit on the exit. I mean, it looks like they're going to hand over very close together. It will all be about the B-Class cars on the run down. Evo very defensive up here. Will be slow on the exit. Runs across the dirt. Can the Tirana get the power down? It's so close, but not quite enough there. So the Evo's just got that little bit too much acceleration for the Holden. The Tirana's been brave around the outside. Might actually get this one to work here as well as they head towards the final hairpin. I think the Tirana's got it. Lovely move. Lovely move around the outside of the Evo, and here we go for the transition. It's very close. The Corrado actually gets going a little bit better and is on the inside line for the first hairpin, but will be on the outside for the next. This is the battle, of course, of the two front-wheel drives. The Sentra will take the lead. Is very wide on the exit. Corrado's sniffing around, but I think actually my Alpine's the only rear-wheel drive car left in this for the B-Class. Oh, very big dive from the Minty car, a little bit of leading. The Corrado's so tiny compared to the modern Nissan. The modern Nissan fights back and will keep that again. The Carrada's having a look. It's a big look up the inside. It can kind of get alongside, but cannot quite hold it. Carrada's has gone for a big dive. Sentra tried to cut back underneath, and that did not actually work for the Nissan there. A bit leaning from the pair of them. The Fuzz are watching on as we race the cars down the mountain. Here is the Sentra now to the inside of that crowd. Really, the Nissan needs to be clear of the Volkswagen. The Nissan needs to be clear of the Volkswagen. It doesn't want to be fighting here because it knows what's going to happen when we get to the later stages and the Sentra's across the grass. That's not good news for the Nissan. We have not got long to go on this hill climb stage. This little wiggle, a couple of hairpins, and then it's just the run to the line, and the Sentra cannot find a way back past down here. But you don't want to be on the grass, guys. The grass is slower. They're both very, very defensive from the Carrada. I'm surprised no one's trying a wider line in any of these corners just to try and get a clean run almost. Avoid each other into attrition through these later stages, and that works out very well for the Volkswagen. Green team will go through. The Carrada takes victory in all of that. A very, very closely fought battle. A very closely fought battle indeed. The Carrada did an amazing overtake around the outside of the Evo to get the lead at the halfway point, but it was not quite enough. The Sentra just got stuck. It just couldn't find a way past. Just couldn't make anything stick. And, well, there we go. Green team are into the final. So, on to the second of our semi-finals. We have got my orange team up against the red team. Our FailRace will be going up against the Ford Deluxe. That is an interesting choice of car. Proved pretty damn fast. Proved very fast indeed. I'm hoping I have the measure of the 2CV. I'm hoping I don't have too much work to do in terms. We can hand over relatively close together. I think I might be able to do it. However, that's a dangerous thing to say as the rain starts to fall here up towards turn 1. Now, the Ford, perhaps unsurprisingly of the pair, is always likely to, in terms of sort of the PI, the amount of upgrades we can get on the car, the Ford is always going to likely favour power. It won't ever be the greatest handling vehicle, just a basic car isn't amazing. So you're likely to have more power, it's likely to be the faster in a straight line. We would expect the Fairlady Z to be better through these corners. However, as we've seen, overtaking here is really, really difficult. The Fairlady is going to do that around the outside to the inside of the next corner, but you get held on such a tight line, it might just work for the Nissan here if it cannot quite stick it around the outside. There's enough grip in the Ford to make that very difficult to do. Will there be? Again, the Armco barrier goes for a splat. I'm not 100% sure if that transit existed or not. We don't really know. But everyone's got through there in basically the same order. It's a bit strange, but they are through the traffic. The Fairlady's being brave around the outside. Now I've got to remember, of course, I will be jumping out of drone mode very shortly. It looks like it's going to be a mighty close finish between the pair of them as we head up towards the hairpin. It is the Fairlady on the inside. I'm going to jump out of drone mode because I've got to make sure that I am ready in my car. We will see them around the final hairpin, hopefully. Here we go. It is going to be orange team car that is ahead, or is it? It's going to be mighty close. Whichever way it is, we are across the line. We transition in the lead. How good is that 2CV? The rain might not help me particularly. My Alpine is a good car, as I said before, and as we saw in that previous round. The Alpine is not bad. The rain might not be the best thing. It can get a little bit lively at times. It might only have 140 horsepower, in fact, with race tyres on the car in B class, but with that rear engine and rear wheel drive, it can move about a little bit if you chuck it around too much. We are still ahead of the 2CV, not by a safe margin. I could have been a little braver there, possibly. Again, if I can just keep that margin at a similar sort of distance, I'm okay. There's no big braking zones on this course. There's nowhere you can have a big lunge. Not really. To get a pass, you kind of have to work for a number of corners to really get a pass completed around here. So, yeah, if I don't make any silly mistakes, I think I might be... I think I've got the performance-wise, I think I've got a measure of that 2CV. Oh, come on. It's still really weird. As driven down it twice, been watching the cars drive down here. Oh, I got a big sketchy moment there. The car, it was almost like the car just got carried away with itself in what direction it wanted to go, and I was almost a complete passenger in that. However, it stopped any big disasters happening. We've actually pulled a little bit more of a gap in this later stage. Now, don't forget, we are not in ghost mode anymore as we head towards the finish line. We have done it. We have got the 2CV beaten. We are into the final. A very, very close run on the way up there. That fair lady managed to hand over just in the lead. We managed to extend that on the way down. The Alpine doing well, even if a little sketchy at times. So, we have our final. Green team will face off against my orange team. So, here we are with our final. It is the green team's Evo up against our fair lady Z. I don't know what way this one is going to go. It's still raining. I'd really like it to stop for my run down the course. I really, really want a dry run against the Corrado, I will be honest. The police are here to see us on our way with perfectly legal street race we are doing here. Let's, I guess, get things going. I'd rather wait for it to be dry, but we are not going to get that luxury. A good start from our fair lady Z here. It will lead the way through this first long corner. Can it lead into the first of the hairpins? It looks like it will be able to. And we saw the Evo be fairly bloody fast up against that Holden. In fact, it's had a little bit of an iffy first turn. That is good news. This is the sort of stuff I want to see. I know up against that Corrado, I will not be as fast down the kind of finish straight. So, oh, I'm doing a terrible job of flying the drone. If we can have as bigger a gap as possible here, that would be fantastic. And indeed, the fair lady is absolutely monstering its way up this hill. Where is the Evo? There it is, going through shot. So maybe the rain is suiting the fairly. I mean, it's not the worst weather conditions. We haven't got a full-on storm, and if anything, it is clearing up, which is good news for me. Yeah, the fair lady has got a very, very big lead in this one. The fair lady, I think, might have run a little bit wide. Potentially, saw the bollards being kicked up. That's not too bad. I can live with that. I can live with that one. I was not expecting to see this size of a gap here, I will be honest. I was absolutely not expecting to see this size of a gap. But it does give me a little bit of confidence. It does give me a little bit of confidence going towards the end of this one. I've got to get myself out of drone mode quickly. We will hand over with a quite nice, tasty lead here. Now, don't drive into the front of the green team's car. We are off and underway. Green team is sliding its way around this hairpin. Now we find out how good that Corrado is. Now we find out how good the Alpine is. If we can keep this gap as well as possible. Yeah, I mean, we have got a pretty decent. I think the Fair Lady Z and Alpine combination is pretty damn good. Both very small, very wee, lightweight vehicles. Big slides from me. And that is what I've got to be careful about, because the Corrado won't really have the same problems. I mean, you can still, of course, get oversteer with a front-wheel drive car, but it's not going to be the same sort of terrifying oversteer that we get going on in the my teammate has leapt off the side of the mountain. I mean, that is one way down. It's not the legitimate way down for this race. However, that is one way to get back down to the start-finish line as quickly as possible. Yes, we did see the flying fair lady in the distance. Oh, that's a little wide through there. We are still okay. I don't really want to be touching the grass. The grass is scary for this car. I would have liked more running in the dry, I will be honest. Would have liked more running in the dry. We will be not too greedy through that. Again, I don't need to do anything too ludicrous. While I need to be ahead of the Corrado. If anything, maybe the Corrado has caught a smidge through here. Yeah, I just needed to not have any silly risks as we leave the final corner. It's the run to the line. The Corrado I will expect to be faster than me. However, it is not going to be able to do anything for the police roadblock. Well, we got through. Woo! We made it through. Perfectly legal street race is apparently not perfectly legal anymore. We did it. We did it. Orange team would take. No, bad things are going on for orange team. You said it was okay. Why are you run away, little Alpine? The Alpine took victory. We had a lovely lead early on with the... No, stop it. Stop it. Be free. Be free, little Alpine. Be free. We got a victory. Good racing, everybody. Well, nope, it's still free. Hey! Please go in the water. Why is the Corrado chasing me? You're a street racer as well. This has gone very badly wrong. This has gone very badly wrong. For me at least. It's been fun. It's always good fun running cars up the hill climb stage. The relay elements. This is a mess going on. Relay element, little bit of strategy, some interesting car choices, and had some very, very close rounds. In the end, we had almost closer heats than we had finals, which is not normally the way it goes. But well, there you have it. I found somebody's boat. That's coming with me. Apparently, we've made a mess. We have really made a mess of Fortune Island. But there we go. The little Alpine that could is almost got away. That'll be it for this video. Thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, a goodbye.